make sure. Oh, we got some people waiting. Oh, okay, I'm getting an ad. It must be going. Hello, everyone. Let me just make sure I have this. Perfect. Okay. Welcome to another author hangout on the Book Refuge. And tonight I am so excited. Y'all know I've been talking up these authors, these wonderful authors for quite a while now. Finally got to read, oops, I'm going the wrong direction. The wrap up to the Spider's Mates trilogy had me just all day Christmas. I was like, don't talk to me. I'm reading the Spider book. Leave me alone. So thank you so much for agreeing to join us. And yeah, we're going to have a great time tonight, but I will let my guests introduce themselves and then, we'll go from there. So go ahead.
Hi, I'm Jessin from Jessin Reads Romance, and I'm so excited to talk about the Spider's Mate trilogy because they're honestly one of my favorite monster romances that I've read, probably of all time.
Is it my turn?
Yeah, go ahead, Ava.
Hi, I'm Avery, Ava, whatever you want to call me, from Ava's romance books, and I'm really excited to be here.
She's coming to us from a vehicle, everybody, so don't mind. She's very dedicated, everybody. So we have our I don't know what I'm doing. I'm trying to point that
It's
direction.
Always the opposite.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, go ahead, Rob and Tiffany. Say hello.
I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Rob.
We're Tiffany Roberts. We're a husband and wife co-author of sci-fi, fantasy, and romance.
Monster stuff, I guess.
Yeah. Aliens.
Yeah.
Is that what you kids call it?
It changes. The lingo, ever evolving.
Lately, we've been just lumping all of those into just like weird romance.
Because there's so much.
Because I feel
there's
like
so many creatures. It's hard to.
It's getting a lot bigger now too. It's starting to explode. So I'm excited.
Yeah, there's been some very like popular ones this year or last year that I think really kind of captured the attention, if we should say. And that's definitely a topic I want to touch on eventually because I think it's very interesting, like the difference between like shock value monster romance and then, I don't know, personally, I feel when I read romances you guys have written, it's more about the connection, not just, oh, there's weird body parts. That's fun. But I'm still, there's certain things you're looking for in a romance.
We actually get that a lot. People will say they'll look at our covers completely expecting just nothing to come of it, just smut, and they're surprised that there's actual plot and character development.
So we had a few of those reviews of, they made me wait until 83% before anything happened.
We're going to give you a story, not just the monster smut.
Yeah. Go find, what's that guy's name who wrote the coronavirus one or whatever? Go to that if that's what you're looking for. Like I can't tell you the number of times I cried in this trilogy as a whole. And that doesn't happen with, Morning Glory Milking Farm. Not that I'm slamming that. I'm not slamming that book. I'm just saying there's a difference.
That was actually a very wholesome book. I really enjoyed
it. It really was.
But I grew up on a farm. It was pretty gross.
Like, whoa. It was pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's the thing is, I think that's a special talent too, when you have a quote unquote weird setup for something and you still make people care a lot, That's really, oh my gosh. Some of these comments, we're going to keep going through. I got my 72-year-old mother to read the Spider Trilogy.
That's awesome.
I love it.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. Oh my word, Ritu. Way to go. You're still looking Cambodia. Right. Yeah, you got her to read it. Well, if she read the whole trilogy, she couldn't have hated it too much, right?
No, I would not move on through 3 books if I hated it. So she liked it. Even if she said she didn't, she's lying.
Right. Especially if you had to wait till 82%. You don't hang around that long if you're not enjoying yourself. Verdict in. She loved it. There we go.
Perfect.
Awesome.
I love it. Okay, well, everybody watching, let me just tell you how I kind of run these author interviews. I mean, it's super informal. We don't have like a structure, but usually I start with some pre-picked questions that I ask every author just to kind of get a feel for, their process and how they do things. And then I do have questions compiled that people sent me on Instagram, and we'll go through those. So we're just going to dive in and Then if you guys have specific questions, we'll have a part, usually the last 30 minutes. Those watching, you can throw those out and we'll go from there. So we're going to start with, this one's extra special since there's 2 of you, but we wanted to start with how you guys met. Like, tell us a little bit about your personal love story before we get into how you write beautiful romances. I would love to know that.
We actually met online. I was 17 and he was 16. And we were big role players at the time and everything. And there was like this chat-based role play. And then we just started chatting and we just connected. And
I think it was over the Vampire Hunter D hat and the river dance and some silly.
It was like a joke, a goof, because he knew that I loved Vampire Hunter D. And he was just joking with the river dance. So he had his character do that. And then it was just kind of broke the ice. It was fun. He was funny. And yeah, we just started talking.
Found out that we both wanted to write, and we skipped a lot of years in between not doing it.
But he lived in New York and I'm in Idaho, and about a year and a half of being together online, using up so many calling cards because they didn't have cell phones then. He came to visit me, stayed for a week, and that was like the best ever. Yeah. And then I went to visit him 6 months later, and then
I went to Idaho in the summer when it was triple digits every single day.
Oof.
And then she came to New York in January when it was negative every day.
My nostrils, my nose and everything burned with how cold it was.
So wow. We got to see the extremes there. But, she went back home that second time. I had been living with my dad. I dropped out of college. I guess that, don't do that if you don't want to, everybody. I just felt I had that whole sense that I wasn't getting anything out of it. I was there. I wasn't learning anything. I wanted to go experience life. And then when she visited not long after that, I just said, you know what, this is what I want. She's what I want. So I just started putting money away to buy a plane ticket, and I packed up everything that I owned. And a few months later, I moved here, and I've been here since then.
Yeah.
So that's how many? It'll be 18 years, I think. In a few months.
Yep.
So
that's awesome.
Thank you.
I love that. That's so adorable. I love it.
We have like an entire shoebox full of like handwritten letters that we wrote back and forth to each other.
Sometimes very angsty.
Yeah, teenagers.
I love it. I love it.
Together.
Yeah.
We have to run off.
So our kids will have something really fun to look into.
Someone's asking if you have a Kraken stuffy behind you.
Yes, I do.
Possibly right over my head.
There. That's Jack.
Yeah, you said it. It looks like he's tickling Rob's head. Yeah, it's like one of those like head massager things. That looks like that. That's so cute.
It was made by a really good friend and reader of ours. Oh no. Oh my God! I'm horrible. What about Tammy? Yes, Tammy. I am horrible with names. But yeah, she made that as a surprise for us. He's even got like little abs on him and everything. It's so cute.
Oh my gosh.
That is adorable. I love that.
Tamaguri is
Tamaguri.
Knitting.
Yeah. I can't say the name. But yeah.
Oh my gosh, fans are the best. That is so cool. I like, if I had a scrap of creativity, I would do stuff like I have none. My love is I will tell everyone to read your books, but I can't make you nice things. So that's what I can do. That's the service I provide. Right. I was like, I'll tell people to read it, but I can't make nice things. So then coming off of that, then now, you said you took a break from the writing. When did you guys start doing that? And what was kind of the first inspiration? Did one of you have more of the idea first, or when did you start writing together? How'd this all work?
Do you want me to start?
You can start.
Started writing probably in middle school, I want to say. Right around when I first read Lord of the Rings, I was really into fantasy stuff, and then it turned into Dungeons and Dragons, and it was just all that stuff from there. And so by the time we met, again, we were teenagers still, but that's what we both wanted to do. I thought that Tiffany's writing was really good. When I look back at my stuff, it wasn't very good. But that's what we wanted to do, and I think I was set on it from about 15 or 16 years old. I don't know if you want to talk about when you first got into it, but then we can
It was basically when I started reading romance books when I was a young teen, and I just started writing them. I wrote poems first, and then I went into romance chapter-like things and horror. So I would go to
No
Barnes and
surprise
Noble,
there.
these meetings where writers could come to, and I went with a friend, and we were like one of the youngest ones there. We were like 15, 16 years old, and there were like 60, 70-year-old sitting around the table with us who were more experienced, were reading their stuff out. So I'm reading mine out, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what are they thinking of me? But yeah.
When I moved to Idaho, we had tried to write together a little bit, but those early attempts didn't go very well.
Creative differences.
Yeah, we had some creative differences that were pretty strong for a little while. But it wasn't too long after we got past those. Probably didn't even remember why we were so.
It was that refusing to change and give over what we had created.
We had our own fantasy
to compromise.
worlds. I had mine, she had hers, and neither of us was happy with each other's entirely, and nobody wanted to change anything. And we just went, but why? Let's just do it together.
And then we role played for years.
Yeah.
Like that was our hobby too. We loved to role play. So it was like writing stories back and forth, which Make Me Burn, our first book that we wrote, was from a role play, a script that we redid completely. So
yeah, and that world that it's set in, Talakar, is the world. Well, it was yours originally, but when we finally got over our creative differences, we reworked it together, and it became the setting of that book eventually. So.
Yeah, we have a couple other books that will probably never see the light of day that we wrote before that. Before, I think it was when I was pregnant or when we had our first daughter. But yeah.
And our inspiration, I don't know, we just always like to write.
Yeah.
Fantasy stuff and all that.
Wow. I didn't know Make Me Burn was your first one. I guess I didn't do my research good enough. I have read that one though. I read that one over Christmas break too.
Yep, that was our very first
fun
book.
time.
Yeah,
because I remember your note. Yes, Avery told me to read it. She's like, "You need to read this one. This is the one you need to do." I was like, "Okay."
It was the first book that I read by y'all, and I was obsessed with it.
Oh,
now,
thank you.
ever since reading that one, I was like, I need more demons.
I like a bad boy too, and I feel like he's more those heroes are some of the more harsher ones. I feel like that I've read anyway. I mean, his dark craving is a little.
I'm surprised we don't have more.
I know. I was like, why did we not have more villains?
Yeah,
he hates being mean to me.
It's hard for me. Yeah, it's hard for me to get out of my own head.
He doesn't like it when his character's mean to mine. So
that's kind of cute. But I have this theory too, though, that the weirder the creature, the sweeter a mate that they are, because it makes the buy-in so well. Like that's what hooked me with Catan. That's what I just gush about. Is I was like, he's so perfect.
When we put that trilogy out, we're like, okay, this is going to get dark in places. It's it's not supposed to be fluffy. And then we put out the first book, and everybody's like, this is so sweet. It's
we're like, oh no.
Like,
yeah.
Whoops.
It's like, it's not fluff, we promise. I mean, the relationship is sweet, but the story is not fluff.
It's good. It makes it so they can handle the hard stuff, because that's
you gotta have that balance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still need to read the last two books, so
yeah, I know. It's like we can't just blurt out everything. I
know. I'm here to finish it. I know. I've been reading y'all's other books, and I've been in like the shorter book mode. So like the past 2 days, I read His Darkest Craving, and then I read your little novella Icebound, and then I'm currently reading Undying.
That was a fun one.
She's me hooked on that one.
Kind of our first.
It's our first short story that we wrote for a anthology before Make Me Burn.
I always forget about Icebound.
That was when we were like,
I loved Icebound. I want to say, if you want a book idea, I loved the little, like the Winter King part, like the little end of it, like the little story they told. Like, I would give anything for a full-length book of that, like of the story that they told.
Was actually another role play that we had.
Oh my gosh, I would die for a whole length.
Avery would kill for it.
Yes,
well,
I would.
Here's something else that will blow your minds maybe then. Silent Lucidity, the first Infinite City book, not based exactly on a role play, but those were role playing characters in that same fantasy world that we took. Yeah, because we've been writing sci-fi for a while. This is where we hit our success.
Mhm.
And we're like, but we miss fantasy. Can we
Yeah.
just do it all? So that's why the Infinite City came to be. And we took those characters and reworked them a little bit. He was an air elemental, I think, originally.
Mm.
10 foot. And then he became a 7-foot tall murder elf, I guess. I don't know.
I love it.
That's what, because that's what I did is I've started a lot of this series because like I'm gonna read one from kind of like everything. So I read Silent Lucidity and I have the second one. Do a lot of people love that second hero the most? I see a lot of fan art of that one. Is he really okay? Because I was like, I see a lot of fan art of this character, so people must like him. That's how I know.
He is very suave and conceited, but in a good way.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Okay, well, people are already throwing in ones about how you write these, and you've kind of already said it too, or like you each write a character maybe. So I have the question. This is what I normally ask next: is like, what is the day of writing kind of like for both of you? But then I also have, sorry, I have all of these on a list here. I don't know where it is, but we can start with this. But people in the comments are also asking like, so do you write the characters independently for the same story? Are you collabing with all of it? Just kind of walk us through the process is what I'm saying. I'll stop talking and let you.
I guess the question we have to ask is, do we talk about how it actually goes lately, or do we talk about an ideal day, how it used to go?
Right. We do both. I always hope, because that's what the authors say. They're like, the days are never the same. Yeah. Like an average of it. Like what's a successful day and then what happens sometimes. We can do both.
So after we do because we're big time outliners. So we'll go through and outline our books. Usually they're very, very detailed. We'll do like day one and this is going to happen. Sometimes we'll add dialogue that comes to mind that we want to make sure that we get into the story. When it comes down to actual writing, yes, usually I take the female, he takes the male. Most of the time we are writing at the same time. We have like a 3 monitor set up. He's on one side of the desk, I'm on the other, with a third monitor that we can tilt back and forth between us.
Oh, wow.
So
that's what this
our separate keyboard and mouse.
Oh, right.
So when we're writing together, especially when the characters are interacting, we're both doing it at the same time, role playing back and forth.
Essentially,
so cool.
Role playing set us up for that.
Yeah.
That is so cool. That's so unique.
By themselves, we write by ourselves. If he gets stuck with something,
I'll be right back. One second.
If he gets stuck, he turns a lot to longhand writing in a notebook, and then if we're writing together. Cool. I usually take over until he can pick back up and get back into the flow and vice versa. But
okay, so I have to move it toward you. This is one of my notebooks. This is Enthralled and Bound, and you probably can't see very well.
No.
There, but
oh yeah,
kind of see. Yeah,
that is awesome.
Pages and pages of handwritten chapters and stuff.
Also notes of like, what am I doing? Why can't this work?
All my self-deprecating journal entries to try to get out of my own head.
That is so cool.
Like, are you kidding? What is wrong with this? This is totally fine. But
yeah, so that's actually we were was it when we were up at the cabin in McCall?
Yeah.
We finished Bound, or the last couple chapters of it. So that's what like all this is. Don't look, Avery. This is
don't try to read the words.
No spoilers, Avery.
That's awesome.
I have a drawer that is alarmingly heavy full of those notebooks filled with handwritten stuff that I really need.
So cool.
Do you find it easier to write like the story, like your inspiration flows better whenever you're handwriting everything rather than sitting at a computer?
When I'm stuck,
it slows the process down for him.
When it's action scenes, it helps because I really try to visualize everything. Yeah. Almost more like a fight choreographer on a movie set or something than writing it.
That's cool.
Yeah, he's our main fight scene writer.
I was about to ask that because I had recently read Dustwalker and like the final like scene and stuff. I was like, man, this is really good. I can really visualize what's happening right now. It's like, I like this.
So he'll type up that stuff and then I'll go through it and add what I want to add in. And if he gets IV wrong, I'm like, nope. It does this and this.
But a lot of times, like by the end of Bound, we'd been working on these characters so long. I think I got it
away any spoilers.
pretty good. Well, I'm not going to say. I'm just we start out where I take the male's point of view, she takes the female's, but by the time we get toward the end of a book, we can
know
usually
each
swap
other's
pretty well back and
we
forth.
know the characters pretty well. And then side characters, yeah, he'll usually take a lot of the guys. I take a lot of the women, and
Yeah, unless we need somebody that I really hate, and then you usually do that pretty well. I
Zervash.
don't know. She just knows all the buttons to push for me.
Well,
Mostly
of
all
you.
me. It was,
man, that evil queen, guys.
I hated having to write her.
Oh my god. I was like, I don't know if I hate anyone more than this character. No.
Spoiler free. I
Yeah.
hated myself for a good few days after I wrote the end of Enthralled.
Did you? You should have. I'm glad you suffered.
Poor Avery's like, what am I going to get into now?
Oh no, I'm
I'm
already like,
scared.
Just
I've already
prepare for
said
pain.
yeah, just be happy you don't have to wait, Avery. That's the
Yeah,
best
you don't
part
have to
about
wait.
about having been in school and busy, because when Enthralled was over, I was like, when is this coming
Oh,
out?
we had so many mad readers. That
Yeah, I finished the last
great.
chapter of Enthralled. I wrote it by hand, and I looked at Tiffany. I'm like, I think I'm done, and I think it's really good, and I feel sick now. I'm like, I hate what I just did.
Sorry.
Oh my gosh.
I guess
Don't choke.
I'm just killing everybody.
No, I laughed when I took a drink, so it was my anyway. Wow, that's amazing though. That makes sense though. I feel like, if you're a writer typing it, you can go, kind of as fast as or faster than you can think. But if you're writing it by hand, you have to kind of slow down and really think about what you're doing. So
And
it's kind of amazing.
better when I can just type it because it's way faster.
Right. Right.
But it just doesn't always work out right
Yeah.
all the time. So we've learned, even though it slows us down, that we just have to do what we have to do to keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Better to go slow, not go at all.
Yeah. What is your usual kind of like pace? Like I don't know if this series was like different since they were all, the same characters for the whole time, or what's your usual kind of pace for a book turnaround?
It's not really
We usually get about a book out every 2.5, 3 months. We usually get our goal in the past was around 4,000 or 5,000 words a day. Lately, it's been more 1,500 to 2,000.
it's not really by book. It's more pre-COVID, post-COVID, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I said
Yeah.
pandemic. Is that a better word to use? I don't know how YouTube still handles that, but before we could hit 4K a day comfortably. We had days where we hit 7, 8, 9. I think we might have almost hit
Yeah,
that.
I think we have.
Wow.
But now it's usually way slower, but it just is what it is.
Yeah, it's more than I'm writing, so I'm happy about it. I always say like I'd have to give up reading the amount that I
I
read.
give up quite a bit of reading because we write so
Yeah.
much. Usually by the time we're done writing at the end of the day, because we work from around 9:30 till 6. But sometimes we work later if we have a deadline coming up. But by the end of the day, I'm just like, I don't want to look at any more words. So,
Yeah,
I'm over the words.
yes.
yeah.
I have a question about, because you said that you pretty much heavily outline your stories. Does the story ever change when you're actually in the process of writing it? Like, do characters change and you're like, that's not how I planned it?
Especially if you're a role player.
Yeah, because they just have minds of their own sometimes, or just the way things go. It's just more natural.
We've been
And we'll
looser.
tweak the outline.
We've been looser in following the outlines lately. The outline is more just we have that direction,
It's
so we
guideline.
have a direction, yeah. But
Yeah.
if it doesn't feel right, we have no problem. When we get to that point, like we've had whole things where there's supposed to be some conflict that gets resolved later, and we're like, but they already
It makes
addressed
sense
it.
now.
Yeah, it makes sense now.
So-
Just finish it now. For Bound, I think we had the first half of the book outlined. We knew where it was going to end, and then we're like, we'll figure out.
Yeah, we
out
got to
everything
the end
in
of the outline. And we're like, okay, now we need to sit here and rethink this. But because it was going to go a totally different route than what it did. So I don't want to say anymore, but
Yeah. Wow. When we're off the line, I might have to poke you and be like, "What's gonna happen? Tell me," because I want. Love that. Well, how about this? What are your favorite scenes to write?
I think for me, it's like the banter and the fun scenes between the characters.
I agree.
Yeah.
Because it just gets fun, and especially the stuff that just gets silly.
I'm basically cracking stupid jokes most of the day.
Oh my gosh.
So when we get to use
are those dick jokes your thing, Rob? All the Vricks dick jokes are being.
That was
his favorite one is like, and they lived happily ever.
Oh no, it's when we'd get to like these love scenes, and we'd have to figure out what to write. Those get hard. The sex scenes can be
they're
hard.
so hard.
Yeah.
I would always write, and he fucked her hardcore until the sun came up.
So he'll write that constantly. I'm like, oh my gosh.
No. We need more detail, Rob. I'm sorry. That's not enough.
You have imaginations. Come on.
You can't introduce a fancy alien peens and then not show me how is it happening, okay? That's if you just said any had a normal human dick, even for a magic monster, well then fine, but that's not fine.
You would ask me years ago how many alien dicks I thought I'd have to visualize.
And
I would have said, what's wrong with you?
Or that you get paid for it.
Oh no.
That you'd pay your bills for it.
Yeah,
that's something sorry, go ahead, Rob. Sorry.
I just said now they pay my bills.
That's right. That's actually a question I skipped over because we jumped ahead, was that one of the things that really interested me about you guys when you started your TikTok is because I hadn't, I had read some of your books, but I, didn't know anything. And I just loved your TikToks, especially when you were answering about when you guys were able to go full time with this. That's something I wanted to ask about when that did happen. And I meant to, and we jumped it. So you had started writing together. How many years ago now, you said, when you started publishing? I don't even think we did.
Started writing.
Make Me Burn came out in March 2016.
Yeah, we wrote it in 2015, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we were waiting for edits and stuff. I think I basically, they switched from a pension plan at my job to a 401k, and we could cash it out tax-free or something. So we took that money and we put it into edits and cover art and all that stuff, because we're just going to go for this now. And so March 2016 for Make Me Burn.
We had a good start, especially because Grace Draven, wonderful lady. She is so supportive too.
Very talented author as well.
We went through her editor, who was amazing as well, but she shared our book, and so that helped kind of give us a nice start. Yeah. It kind of dwindled a little bit towards the end, and then we wrote Treasure of the Abyss a couple years later, and that is what kicked it off. Yeah. And especially because it came out around the time that Shape of Water, the movie, came out.
Oh my God, that's
how
you get
landed on
that.
it. Yeah, that's exactly how I landed on it.
Yes. So that came out Christmas Day, and I think it was around February. He was just like,
I think it was basically, we put it out, and that week at the end of the year, we were like, this book just made more money in a week than any other book has made in a month.
For us,
what's
ever.
What's going on here? And then the month after that was the biggest one we've ever had by far.
Awesome. So great.
And he
after,
hated his job. He was so depressed and everything. And he would come home and he would help me with the kids and everything. And then the kids would go to bed, and then we'd go right to work writing. And then having to go back to work again. And finally it just came to where he's like, I was like, let's give us time, because I didn't want to jump into anything.
Right.
It was just like a spoof, and oh, this is a great book. Now what happens to the next ones?
So we gave it 2 months.
I was like, let's wait a year maybe and see. But he was like, I just need out of this job now. And
well, it kept doing good. So I was like, you know what?
So he put in his 30 weeks, and I think he finished in May.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
May 2018. So.
Yeah.
That's pretty great. That's awesome.
It was luck, really.
Yeah.
Right.
We lucked.
It only takes the right time, the right moment to just kick you off, and then you're good from there. Just need the exposure and that one book to go viral, and you're good.
Well, and then to not stop. I mean, there's the second half of it. Is then you found what was working, and you were just you were doing it now every day.
Yeah.
You treat it as a job. You weren't like, oh, I hit it.
Yes. We're not rapid releasers. At least I don't think we are. But
No, not really.
But at least, yeah, keeping that momentum going and sticking with it.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
I like it. Oh yeah, here was the question I've been looking for. You've answered this one now. I could not find it 5 minutes ago when I was looking for it, but I think you found it. But that's a good question about because there's other things involved with a book coming out than just the writing of it. So what are, the social and the business side of it? How does that get divvied out?
Basically, as soon as we write the end, he's done.
He's over it.
Everything else, the marketing,
Well,
everything.
to be fair, right? We write them together, and then when we go edit it, Tiffany's mainly doing developmental, looking for consistencies, correcting some typos. I go through and I rewrite and edit the book, from front to back.
Mm-hmm.
So usually for a week and a half, 2 weeks after our first draft is done, that's what I'm doing. Typically 12, 13, 14 hours a day. So yeah, when it's done, I'm like, this is all you.
Yep.
Everybody on social media wants to talk to her anyway.
No,
I'm no
they
fun.
like
Well, only because they give me in small doses.
Oh my gosh, that is funny. I mean, TikTok's helping with that because it's hilarious. Some of the TikToks you've done are just really endearing for people.
TikToks with me.
If you've seen the one with the Batman, the Lego Batman thing,
Yeah.
that's real life. That actually happened. She asked me to do a TikTok, and I.
Oh, that was your idea to do that one.
How I feel about it though.
I know.
No.
But that stuff, like TikTok is a double-edged sword, like we say. Like, it can be a time suck and put a lot in, but it's like if you hit the right one. I mean, a few authors I've spoken with in the past couple months, it's like your book hits right, and it's just bananas what it can do.
Amazing for us
for our backlist.
Yeah.
We had 2 videos that went viral that really helped our backlist, and then usually it's other readers. Like I'll be like, why is this book suddenly shooting up in sales? And then I come across the TikTok that went viral, and I'm like, thank you. Like we are so seriously grateful. Like, oh my God.
TikTok helped Ruby Dixon take over Amazon for how long?
Right.
Sci-fi romance to light and monster romance, and
so much so they felt like they needed to kick her off for a little bit, apparently, because she just was too powerful for them. But that was just great. Anyway, Amazon. Okay, let's ask. Okay, here's a couple. We want to throw these out. Do you have plans for more audiobooks in the future? Because we have a lot of readers who that is there. And I know a lot of it, indie authors say like it's a pretty big expense. And also I was thinking, I maybe told Avery or Jess this, I was like, some of these would be like really complicated for a narrator to do. But
because of languages and
The Spider's Mate was not written for somebody to read.
Right.
We get that question a lot. It's usually not on our to-do list.
Yeah.
We had 2 books, Treasure of the Abyss and Dustwalker, that we went through with Tantor. And it took us, like, we just recently basically made enough to pay off the advance that we got, which was like $1,400 after 3 years. Wow. So I'm like, it's not a very...
Yeah. And now, obviously, with The Spider's Mate, it'd probably have a bigger audience, but again, it takes time, and if you're not going through like ACX royalty share stuff, you're for bound, it'd probably be $4,000 or $5,000 to get an narrator. Yeah, more than that.
And those books are ones I would definitely not want to like rush in with. I would definitely prefer them to be like duet, and which would be more money, and to find the right narrators for them. But we have his Darkest Craving that just came out on audio, and we have somebody working on Claimed by an Alien Warrior right now.
Okay.
So we're gonna kind of put those out there and see how they do. It's something that we would like to do, but
just justifying the cost and all that.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, but this is good. I have, my fellow creators right here. So when your audiobooks come out, we'll be like, hey, everybody, please go download these audiobooks and listen to them. You have if we want all of their books on audio, we have to make them lots of money so they can get it. So you've given me my marching orders. I'm here.
I just listened to his Darkest Craving, and I loved it. I thought the narrator for that was amazing. He did a great job.
So nice. He did it in an American accent, and he's like, I can do it in this, or I can do it in English. I'm like, go with the English.
Yeah.
It sounds Cruise's voice, I was like, I
Oh
love
yeah.
Mhm.
Gonna be much more mysterious. See, I read that one. I'll have to listen to that.
Yeah, I read that one too, but I'd love to listen to it.
Yeah, that was a quick one.
His-
That'll be great.
His voice is very nice.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's all what it is. I went on a huge rant to my friends yesterday because I listened to an audiobook and the male narrator did the most awful voices for females I have ever had in my ear. And I was like, you realize you shot this author in the foot with your narration? Like, because I hated this book. I gave it 2 stars because the narration made me so angry. Anyway,
I don't listen to very many audiobooks. What would you consider like bad? Like bad?
Oh, well, the thing is like, I don't mind, if they're coming up with other voices for people who aren't the main character, but your female person that your love interest, you have to do at least a pleasing voice for them. And this narrator, the male, for the female voice, he literally did this like nasally voice for his heroine. Right. So you're like, so you're gonna do a sex voice for that voice.
Yes.
And that does not work. So that's really my only thing is I was like, you can do weird voices for other women that you're doing. I mean, I don't love it, but for the person you're going to be kissing and fucking, I need them to sound nice.
Yes.
So anyway, that was just
when we chose the male narrators for the women's voice, because I'm like,
yeah,
are they sounding okay, even though they sound a little masculine?
Right.
I tend to enjoy male narrators. If they're going to be reading both parts, I tend to enjoy male narrators more than I do female narrators if they're not going to be dual. I guess it's just because I prefer like a deeper resonance. And sometimes, like Jen said, like if it's really, really high pitched, it can get a little bit annoying, especially if you're doing a higher speed audio. It amps it up a little bit. But yeah.
But especially listening to the woman audience and then listening to the man's voice.
Yeah.
Right.
And then
But
when
I feel like
the man's voice, it's like trying to be really low and it's not what you want.
Right. I mean, some of my favorite narrators are like Robert Peckoff. He can narrate everything to me, like please and thank you. And his women, even he sometimes, because it's like he's read a 20-book series, trying to find a different voice for a female after you've done that many. Like sometimes you're not going to find a great one, but But anyway, okay. Well, that's cool. I mean, I hope they're very successful, and I will do my best to make sure they are, because audiobooks, I think, they're the way that I'm able to read 700 books a year. Half of my books are audio because I can listen while I'm at work. If I had to read every single word, I'll still read at work a little bit, but it's harder.
I find it crazy how some people can read like hundreds of books a year. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
It's dedication.
Whatever you do.
But
yeah. I don't know how you write 4 books a year. So that's my answer.
I don't know how some people write 12, 14, 16 books a year.
That's crazy.
It is.
That is true. Yeah. Like, who's that? Willow Winters has written like 60 books and she's been writing for like 3 years or something, 4, 5. And I'm like, I think it was 6 years. I might have lied. I might have jumped the gun, but still, I'm like, oh my God.
Some people are quick.
I think my hair is getting whiter just thinking about that.
Right. All right, let's start jumping through some of these fun ones so we can get to audience questions. I can yak forever, so I have to stay on track. So what was the most difficult book for you guys to write and why? And you can have different answers just for each of you.
Yeah, I think Lover from the Sea. Or Lover from the... Yeah, it was Lover from the Sea.
Maybe. Do you guys know the titles of our books? Remember most? Is it From the Sea or From the Waves?
From the Waves. Lover from the Waves.
Is it? We don't have any back there.
That was the last book in our Kraken series. And it was mainly because it did feature an older couple. And it was just making sure that we are not being respectful of that age and not being in that age or having experienced that and everything yet. Just making sure that we
And also for me, I was done with the Kraken.
Yeah, that too.
Since the first book. So by book 7, I was really like, because I think we did book 6. And I was like, okay, we're finished now. We got through all the characters that need stories. And it's like, well, actually.
Actor happily ever after. Come on.
So that one was hard. That was the first book where we're like, wow, we wrote all day. I guess wrote air quotes. We wrote all day, and we have 750 words for the day.
Ooh.
Going on here.
Yeah.
So that it was rough. It was hard. I think was I going through like nasty caffeine withdrawals? Was that when I was?
Yeah, that too. But
Yeah. I think I was weaning myself off caffeine there. I just stopped because I had been taking caffeine pills.
to stay
I have
awake.
sleep apnea and hypersomnia, so I get really tired during the day, even if I sleep for 12 hours. And I stopped caffeine because I got this other stuff to help me stay awake, and that screwed me up so bad for like a week and a half. Like I couldn't think. I couldn't
Caffeine
think.
withdrawals are the worst.
They
Yeah.
are.
And it took a while. The worst part is something's really wrong, but you can't think straight enough to figure out what. So you just think, like, what's wrong with me? Oh, my brain. And then I started looking. I think you mentioned it, and I'm like, no, that's silly.
Yeah.
And then I started looking, and I'm like, caffeine withdrawals. Oh my god, what? It can do
Yeah.
what?
They're intense.
So for many reasons,
But we were still proud of
Lover-
that book when we were
yeah.
done with it. It turned out we were happy with it.
Lover from the Sea and or Waves.
Lover from the Waves. And I was the
Well,
last like our characters' names, and I'm like, I don't remember sometimes.
Sometimes when we do like the signed book orders, we have people who are like, pick a quote from this book and write it.
And we're like,
And we're like, I don't know the character's names from this book. You want me to find a quote? What? You open it up and go, oh, we wrote that? When?
Oh my gosh. Oh, here's a viewer question. I'll throw this one in so I don't lose it. With people trashing the romance genre already, have you had to deal with a lot of negativity, Robert, as a man writing romance? Or do people not really know?
I don't engage with people. We went full time, and I'm totally antisocial. So
Yeah.
I go on. Honestly, my main interactions with people, apart from this is the most. I talk to Tiffany and our kids, but I don't really talk to anybody else anymore.
talk on
Sure.
Discord than anything. But
Yeah. So I'll go on like Facebook, and I'll go to our reader group, and we keep that very positive. So don't have to worry about there. We do get some readers, like when I do live readings and stuff, who kind of drool over me for some reason. But
Oh.
and they'll be like, Tiffany, I know this is weird because it's your husband, but no, I stay away from Twitter. I don't even have TikTok or anything. I just stay away from all of it. And I tell people if they ask, oh, what do you write? We say we write romance. I don't care.
Sure.
we
does it
don't
matter?
really get any negativity because he's a man. I think the main thing is us being a married couple, we get more of the questions
Yeah.
of,
Oh, your
do you-
sex life must be amazing.
Yeah.
It gets really uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's like, just
Inappropriate
because we
questions.
write
Yeah.
books with sex scenes doesn't mean we would like to discuss our sex lives with
Yeah.
you. So
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that happens to like every romance author, but I can imagine as a married couple that'd be even more.
yeah.
I don't know.
But I mean, yeah, I don't care either way. I defend romance when it comes up because I mean,
Right.
honestly, I don't read a lot because again, we're writing all the time. And I've never been anywhere near as big a romance reader as Tiffany.
Mhm.
But I've read romance, and a lot of the character development and characters is way better than so many fantasy and sci-fi stuff that people drool over like it's the best thing in the world.
Yeah.
It's so much better, and it's frustrating, that it gets overlooked because it's for women. It's a bunch of yes,
Preach.
Yeah.
good not swearing because
Oh my
of-
gosh.
Snaps.
Oh yeah. I was like, you can say whatever you want here, but yeah. Seriously, my live streams are like they're not monetized anyway because I don't want people to have to whatever. And all this is also I always bring this up. Like I've literally done videos about incest on my channel and I get paid just fine. They leave me alone. If I had 1 million followers, maybe they'd start paying attention. Probably not even then, but they don't pay attention to me. They just let me go. But anyway, sidetrack from that. Yeah, I don't know. It's sometimes I get sassy about it. because you get annoyed, like it's annoying to have people degrade something that is very important to you. But I've also now recently gotten into a phase where I'm just like, okay, then feel that way. I guess you're oblivious to the fact that romance probably keeps your publishing houses open for whatever is written there. It's probably paying the bills so that you can write. So you can take 6 years to write a fantasy novel. You know, the authors who are putting out, even authors who are traditionally published romance and putting out 1 book a year are probably keeping it open for you to what you're doing. So that's.
I always hated it when they called our books, or just romance in general, just like porn and smut. I've accepted it more with the smut because we're kind of turning it more of a positive term now.
Yeah.
So I go for a positive. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm glad that people are now looking more up to them.
It's, the whole thing, when you watch an R-rated movie and they have sex, you don't have people going and saying, oh, it's porn. If John Wick had sex in the middle of a John Wick movie, you wouldn't have guys saying that they just went and watched a porn movie.
Right.
Action movie, and it's tough, and
yeah.
So it's silly, and it's the same thing, because it's for women, just like everybody bashes on Twilight and that stuff because it's for teenage girls, and there's no reason to. It's get a hobby. Go get a hobby, everybody.
Right.
Agree.
Right. Well,
and
it's
also, honestly, I'll just say this last thing. More men should read romance and appreciate it, because
there it is.
Girlfriends would be so much happier.
All you chads up.
But don't be afraid of it. Just go do it. It's okay. It's not going to hurt you.
Yeah. Nope. They make some great, whatever. We know this. There's fantastic books out there. And I agree with the character development part of it. I agree with all of those things. I think some like paranormal romance worlds that are created are some of the most complex and like well done mythology and like backstory of stuff. It's fantastic.
Too.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, well, see, we're all on the same page. Imagine that. But it is something that people, when they throw it out, I'm just kind of like, okay, that was really base. Oh, that's where I was going to go. For me, I'm like, why do you want to like shit on something that brings people joy? That's where it comes to for me. Like if video games bring you joy, or reading or knitting or any of those bring you joy, like why does someone want to say, well, that's not a real healthy hobby for you? I'm like,
so you said drinking the blood of your enemies brings you joy, so
I don't know. I'm not forcing it in anyone else's face. So like, why can't that be my thing? But anyway, whatever. Now I laugh about it. And my dad's super proud of me that I review romance books, and that makes me happy. Like
my
for
mom
Christmas, he was like, yeah. Okay, that's awkward. My dad does the opposite, where like when I was trying to get monetized, he would watch all my videos on mute because he didn't want to hear what I was talking about, but he would watch them, and he still does that sometimes.
That's so cool.
I love that.
Or he'll even listen to them because he'll say, oh, I missed you, so I put on your vlog. And I was like, which one did you watch? And he's like, oh, no. When you start talking about that, I'll just skip a little bit. I'm like, okay.
I have no idea what you said, honey, but you looked thing.
My dad doesn't read our stuff. He'll see my stuff on Facebook and he'll share it, but he doesn't really pay attention to it. So there was one teaser I shared that actually was talking about the penis, and I was like, Dad, do you realize what is in that post? And he was like, what? And I'm like, go.
I just automatically heard it.
He's like, oh.
That is
so funny.
I love that.
Okay, here we go. Give us some deets here. What do you got planned for 2022? You don't have to say exactly, but what's the plan? What's the layout? How many books? What are we looking at?
Hopefully at least 3 or 4. Definitely want 4, but we'll see what we can get. But yes, we want Tethered Souls, the next book in our Infinite City series, and then we were getting back into the bricks for Rakash or Caught and Tillock. So we're
so excited.
We would like to have them all out by the end of the year,
but can't make a promise.
Yeah, okay. We just these days we just don't know how it's going to go. We used, a couple years ago we could say we definitely have that out, and probably 2 or 3 more. But
so if we have our pre-order set way out, that's not a solid date. That just gives us room. Right. And then once we don't set the solid date until we finish the book and get to our editing stage. Then we have an idea of what we can actually achieve.
Smart.
So we have to give ourselves breathing room because of Amazon's policies on pre-orders and when you can change it, how you can change it, all that stuff. So
they only allow you to advance it 1 month after you've already set it. So it's like we want to definitely make sure we give ourselves room.
But you can pull it up as much as you want?
Yes. You can pull
Okay.
it closer as far as you want, but to go out, you can only go 1 month out.
Okay. Yeah, I've definitely heard that from other indie authors. So that was like when I finished Enthralled and saw when the date was. I told all my friends, I was like, okay, that's the latest it will be out. This day in January is the latest it will go out. We'll get it sooner than that, hopefully. Like I was very excited. So I was like, but still, I was very
scenario would have been February, but yes, we were like January latest.
We pushed really hard too because we wanted to take Christmas break off with
Some
the
time
kids.
off.
sure.
Yeah.
You wanted time off.
Yeah.
I love that. Everyone's very excited. We'll show some happy things. More bricks, please. Yes, I'm so excited. Oh my goodness. Can't wait for more.
I'm excited to get back to them too. But we definitely need to get back to Tethered Souls because we pushed them off so many times.
Yeah.
I'm going to be excited to only have to keep track of 2 arms and 2 legs for a little while. Well, I guess it's 4 a week because there's 2 of them.
Yeah, there's a lot of limbs. Oh my goodness.
Oh, there were times, through Enthralled and Bound where we're sitting there like, why did we add so many characters?
Got the arms, the legs, the mandibles,
and then
claspers.
we have 7 more humans that we got to keep track of. And
yes, that was a lot. That was a lot in there, but it was great. It made it a very fleshed out.
Did you always plan on doing the stories for some of the side characters in the Bricks world, or was that just fan requests and you're like, oh, I guess we have to write stories for these too?
Anytime he writes a side character that I end up loving, I'm like, well, we're going to be having more books, right?
So I hope you really love him.
Treasure of the Abyss was supposed to be the one and only Kraken book, and then I wrote Archon and Dracus, and
I was like, we're going to have to make some more, right?
Dracus. I don't know how to pronounce his name. It's probably more because isn't it Bacchus is the Greek god? They stole other names from like Greek stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But
I mean, people need a community. Aliens need a community. So it's like you can't just, unless you do a Lost on a Desert Island one or something,
Maybe that's what we'll say.
I mean, Make Me Burn was kind of being lost on an island, but then you had more demons on there. So
other folk.
Yeah.
Dustwalker was kind of solo. So
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. A lot more solitary.
A lot of cooked food.
Okay, let me see. Oh, well, since we're into some of the brick stuff now, we'll throw some of these out. So this one was for Tiffany. Who's your favorite bricks?
That is so hard to choose out. I of course love Catan, so if I had to put him aside, I think Talak is probably my favorite right now too. But it switches.
I mean,
which is your favorite child?
Yeah, it's like, what's my favorite child? I tell them whichever one's the good one of the day. So.
Oh my goodness. Ooh, this was a question I'd really loved. Is there a certain type of alien or monster that you never want to write? I thought that was a good question. Someone
sure would be honest and say that I never want to write any of them, but
I would say it was brought up. It was both between me and Naomi Lucas, because we're pretty good friends. And she's like, "What about a cockroach?"
Oh no!
I mean, she did a freaking snake, and I love it. I don't know how between the two of you.
So. But I'm like, a cockroach, that's something that everybody's like, spiders are one thing. It's like cockroaches are like, ugh.
I don't know if I could read about a cockroach.
No, me neither. Yeah. Me neither. It took me a little while to dip my toe into the spider just because I'm not a huge fan of them. But when I heard that he was like a very worthwhile hero, I was like, okay, I'll give him a shot. He was amazing. So I was like, okay, you sold me. I'm cool with the spider thing.
I go in and I take those little snippets where he's just like, oh, my heart's thread. I love you. I was like, look at this, Justin. Look at
those.
He loves her so much. And I just throw all these little like. I just did it with another book too. Like anytime a hero starts going like, she's mine, I'm like, snap, snap, snap.
I know. I love
all my friends who love that. And I'm like,
but I also don't think that you guys describe any of your alien sci-fi characters in a way that is extremely off-putting. Like they're still very other, but it doesn't like, it's not icky. It's not written in a way that it's like it's meant to gross you out,
Right.
So that helps too.
They're not slimy. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That was because I shared this everyone before on camera. Like that was always hard about the Krakens for me, is like I just was thinking of like viscous things. I was also just a baby monster reader, so I was like, this one's I'm a bit scared, but I'm better now. I can try things more.
It didn't take me as long to get on board with the Krakens. That was my first foray, and I was like, oh my goodness, what am I reading? And I felt embarrassed for a little while, and then I was like, no, but this is good. This is really good, and I don't care, and I like these. So
Yeah. You know, it takes time sometimes. We just gotta tippy toe into it. But seeing what happened this year though is like, because I was going through like trying weird romance, and I was like, what are the weirdest ones I've been seeing? I'm gonna try like 50 pages of these different like weird ones. And so the Viper was one, and then I'd been seeing this one everyone. I was like, it's so pretty, it's so weird, but it's so pretty, so I wanted to try it. So that's how I read both the Nagas and the Spider's Maid, as I was like, these are weird, let me read 50 pages of it, this is interesting. So that's kind of how it happened.
I've been told that the first 50 pages of Ensnared is very boring.
I saw someone's review of that.
We get that a lot because it's a lot of world building. We knew that. We knew that
Like,
going in.
nothing
had
happens.
purpose.
It's like, I'm sorry, nothing happens. There's no sex. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
no.
someone had said they hadn't even met each other yet. I saw a reviewer there like they haven't even met each other yet, and I was like, okay, that's fair, but like, do you know it's a trilogy? I don't know. I think also people aren't used to maybe a trilogy with it, because I didn't even know that there was more than one coming yet until I got to the end of
You write
Ensnared.
long books, and this was an epic.
Yeah.
So,
Usually when people read our books, they're used to the way we write. We do have a lot of stuff in there that could probably be excluded, but it's things that we really like having in there, and a lot of our readers do have, because it's just slice of life things that we feel is just moments with other characters. Like, we didn't have to put as much detail and conversations with the side characters in the Spider's Maid trilogy, but that helped like flesh
it makes
them
the
out.
whole world feel more alive.
Yeah.
You know, it's fine. It's totally fine and doable to have a book where it's just the two main characters together. I mean, that was Icebound, very short, but you know, that's fine. But for something like this, you need a supporting cast to flesh everything out. It gives the main characters other attachments beside themselves, so there's greater stakes than you know, just them, and it's fun because they could try to teach each other how to say dick in their own languages.
All right, Avery just has to wave goodbye. She has to drive her car. The car has to drive home now. We're gonna.
Thanks,
Avery.
Bye, Avery.
This was an honor.
Yes.
Honor. I love y'all's books so much, so thank you so much for letting me chat with you.
Thank you for coming.
Bye, Avery.
Bye, y'all. See you later.
She's so cute. Yeah. So anyway, no, I'm just kidding. When this happened, no, there's other. I know. There was also another. I had skipped over this one too, of like how. This is also good since she is gone anyway. So how the other relationships be different? This was from a viewer.
Well, I think that the simplest answer to that question is that none of the characters in the other books, none of the main characters are Ivy or Catan. So
I mean, yeah,
they're all
that is
different
the easiest
people
way.
with different backgrounds, different motivations, different skills. So I mean, that's how it's different.
And it's also, they don't have as much now. They don't have as much of a language barrier as Catan and Ivy had too. So that's also.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep track of what words they know how to say and understand. What a mess.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm interested to see when these other ones will start, if there's going to be like overlap in time, or if we'll be starting in the future. Like there's, you know, secrets still to come out. You know?
We haven't even really
nice
thought that far yet, so.
Right? Like, I have no idea.
So I guess in summation, we don't know how they'll be different, but they will be.
Have you, has Sam, your cover art, because he does the covers of these, have they started like ideas for what the other bricks like look like? Is there art?
We actually got the work in progress for Rakash's, so, and it's so pretty. So I'm excited when we can actually share those.
Yeah.
So.
Soon.
So
I love those covers so much. They're just so beautiful.
I'm
a great job.
They're so beautiful.
And she did all the work for Infinite City as well. So
yes. Oh my gosh, I can't wait.
A+ artwork.
So pretty. I'm excited. I really want to see art of one of the female bricks eventually of just like the size comparison.
Actually,
That's something I really want to see.
We have an artist who does fan art for our Vix characters, and she did on set. He's working on a on-set picture too that he's drawing as well, so we'll be sharing that.
Yeah, she like I just think it's so interesting of their like just try, because I'm not the best picture of stuff, which is why I love fan art, especially for aliens and creatures, because I just will be like, okay, what's the dick look like? How big is he? Okay, cool. And then I'm just kidding. I'm not that basic, but
What's important?
right. What's important here? How's this gonna work? And hearing like how powerful the queen is, like the size that she would be, especially when we think, you know, I don't know, it's just a different thing to have this like evil female be so able to subdue our hero. You know, it's very different. And
few reviews where people really did not like that. And
yeah,
well,
Because they want.
I mean, I don't like it, but it's interesting.
well, I can't say spoilers. So
Yeah, we don't want to say too many spoilers.
the females, the males are about 2/3 the size of the females, around there. The males are around 7 feet tall, and I guess their relaxed stance, their normal walking stance, because obviously they could stretch their legs and get stand taller, but their normal stance, they're probably around 7 feet tall, and the females are pushing like 9-10 feet. So
yeah, on 7,
they're big,
10 feet or so.
They're big, large, and in charge.
I really loved Onset. I really did. She broke my heart. She broke my heart, but I love her. I love her.
I know. I felt for her.
Yeah. So I've had friends who are reading her be like, "What is she doing?" And I was like, yes, I know. It's
hopefully everybody understands why she did what she did.
Everybody makes
do.
Everybody has good intentions, and
sometimes the consequences for those mistakes are really bad, and they make an author hate themselves for.
You really felt the pain of it,
I
though,
did.
is part of it. Like,
well, like earlier, I don't like being mean. I guess I probably am mean more than I think, but I don't like being deliberately mean.
I'm like, be mean anymore.
We're not talking about that stuff.
I mean, I'm reading Make Me Hunger right now, and I mean, you know how to get kind of mean. He's a little bit nasty. I cannot pronounce that name either, but I just call him Bal and Baltharis. Okay.
Galen is actually meaner than him.
He is.
Yeah.
Or I haven't read that one. Sorry. Nope. I'm thinking about.
Make me yours.
The angel is meaner.
Yeah, the angel is meaner.
I feel like they usually are. Angels are never as nice as I think they're going to be. Okay, anyway, I'm ruminating that. There's just a few more of people watching. There's just a few more of my preset questions. So if you want to send some to them, we're probably going to go until about 7:30 my time. I told them about 90 minutes. Make sure their kids haven't burnt anything down or anything crazy. So. Which could be bad. Who are some of your guys' favorite authors and favorite books by them in any genre? You don't have to do romance, but let's do. I know, Rob, you said you don't get to read a ton, but
I love Arlie Smith. She is like my top, ultimate favorite author ever.
I also love Arlie Smith.
Last Hour of Gan, Land of the Beautiful Dead, Cottonwood. Those are my tops from her. They are very dark. Like, she says that she writes erotic horror, but she has some of the best romance, dialogue, everything. Ooh. But there are lots of trigger warnings. They get very dark, so definitely look for that.
But Arlie Smith is kind of like the writer we want to be when we grow up.
Yeah, when we grow up.
When you can be mean, Rob, is that what you're saying?
You have to be mean. But no,
her world building is phenomenal, and they are very long books too.
And just her writing, man. She has a fanfic that I got Tiffany into for Five Nights at Freddy's. And it's so good though. It starts with basically home renovation porn.
Yeah.
People call it competence porn because the main character is so good at what she does. and it has nothing to do with the, animatronics and crap, but she just writes so good. You're like, oh, cool. I want to hear what she's going to do with this place. How is she going to fix it? So
that's always nice when you can read a story where like the world building's happening or things are happening and you don't even notice it. You just realize you know the whole world because they've done such a good job with it.
Yeah.
I love that.
I was really big on Stephen King for a while.
All right.
I've read The Stand a lot of times.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I used to reread it like every year pretty much. What have I read lately
He's more into graphic novels nowadays.
Yeah, I do read a lot of Saga is a graphic novel.
Yes.
Yep.
And
next one comes out a couple weeks.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I didn't know how it ended when I got the compendium thing.
Oh, right.
That was a fairly recent thing for me. I think last year I got it.
Oh, it must be scarred.
And it wrecked
still.
me. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Oh, now I'm going to think about it. I'm going to get all upset.
Yeah.
Man. Because I was reading it. I'm like, oh, Tiff might like this. There's like this romance story in there. I got to the end. I'm like, oh no, don't ever read this. You know.
Our readers felt them at the end of the
Not till there's more. Not till there's more.
Yeah, we need more. We need to see. But they left it. That was really good. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, I read that like 2 years ago when they were like, "Oh, we don't know when we're coming back," and I was like, "What the fuck? Are you serious?"
That would be crushing.
This is why I read romance. I don't do this shit.
And I looked, and it's like, wait, how long has it been on hiatus? What?
See, at least we had pre-order dates up for something. We had promised we were going to get it done. We didn't know, like, in the air, like, oh, we might get to it.
Right. Well, I trusted you. I think it's one thing, too, of, like, when you've built up trust with readers and then are like, okay, it's going to be a trilogy, so we got some cliffhangers coming. But, like, it will be finished. It's a thing.
Yes.
It's authors who's, like, I feel like in 2021, I won't name them for people watching, but like there specifically was 2 authors who did surprise duets. Like they did not have their second books announced, and they didn't have it announced for like a little while. So like I was reading these books as like arcs, and I was so pissed because when I started it, I didn't know there was going to be a second one. Like I have to be prepared. I'm a romance reader. You can't just like, if I know there's 3 books and I'm like, okay, this is going to have a cliffhanger. Okay, cool. It's fine. But when you finish it and you're just like, okay, but I wasn't prepared. I'm running out of pages. We're not gonna figure it out. And then it's just,
all this.
I know. I will warn you then, because our Isle of the Forgotten series is not complete. They're each standalone. They're each they live their happily ever afters, but the overarching plot,
shall never be completed.
Probably not.
Probably not.
We don't get any sales for that series, so it's like it wouldn't be worth going back.
Also, we didn't intend for it to become that big thing that it started to become. That was an accident. We were like, we don't know what to do now.
You role played a little too close to the sun.
The characters that were going to be in the last book also, we just weren't feeling it by the time we got to it.
Sure.
I think we had started writing Dustwalker right after Make Me Burn because we were like inspired like more than ever. And
we were told to wait and continue to finish the series.
Because we had started out in fantasy, so put aside Dustwalker, and it had just been sitting there like 2/3 done, 3/4 done. And by the time we got to like the 4th book of the Isle of the Forgotten, we were like, this isn't working for us. We're not into this. But hey, there's this other thing over here.
Yeah. Well, what's the great of writing for yourselves if you're not able to do that?
Yeah.
You know, if you're not able to make that decision of like, this is the direction our creativity is going.
Yeah.
You need to go with it, you know?
And that's, we've seen other authors talk about it too. The whole, if a series isn't doing well enough to justify the time you'd put into it and you're not feeling it.
Right.
We're sorry for the readers who are left hanging, but
yeah,
it's better for us to not write it rather than give you a crappy book. And, you know, you're going to be more angry at us if we give you the end and it's bad and you don't like it and the characters don't work.
Yeah.
Our hearts weren't in it.
Yep.
Yeah. Or if you're burning yourselves out.
Yeah.
When you could be excited to write every day, you know. That's fun. Okay. I love asking this question. What's your favorite romance trope?
I mean, is monster romance a trope? I don't know.
I mean, it is. I would call that one more of the subgenre, like, enemies to lovers or amnesia or arranged marriage. Like, what did you think?
Definitely what we did with the Spider's Mate is the language barrier, the getting to know, is he going to hurt me kind of thing.
Yeah.
Hunter prey. Could be enemies to lovers thing kind of thing too, but I also love childhood sweethearts.
Yes, such a good one. Have you guys done that?
Yes, we did that with Entwined Fates.
Oh, that's cool.
It's the prequel,
Kind of
technically.
prequel,
kind
but
of
it's a
prequel.
standalone of the Infinite City.
Okay.
And it's a shorter one too, so
Yeah.
if you need a quick read.
I like that. I like that.
And I have no answer to the question, so moving on.
All right. All right. And then this is my last pre-ask question. Do you have some advice for first-time writers?
Button chair.
is usually, yeah.
Bic.
Button chair.
If it's something that you want to do, you have to just dedicate yourself to doing it. Whether it's 30 minutes a day, a few hours a day, you need to make it a routine to get your writing in and actually do it.
And I guess that kind of goes back to our little story of how we met, how we both loved writing when we first met. And that's one of the things we bonded over. And then I moved out here. We were both working full time, had an apartment, bills, and we set it aside. And then we started having kids. And we always role played, we had time for hobbies and stuff. But we always told ourselves, oh, we're just too tired. There's not enough time to really devote to writing. And then one day we just realized, like, no, there is time. And
You just got to make it.
yeah, almost everybody has the time.
Yeah.
If you put in the effort to making it, So like for me, I play way too many video games. So when I complain that I don't have time to do something, it's like, well,
Your art, when I tell you
maybe
you do have
we're
time.
not talking about my art. But you can find the time. And that's the main thing. If you want to write, you have to do it. Don't worry about marketing. Don't worry about all that stuff.
Just get the book out.
Yeah.
Learn to write a story first and sit down and do it. That's the most important thing. Because if you have the best marketing in the world, but the story is not there, people aren't going to pick up your next book.
Yeah. I love that. I've heard a few authors say this too, is like, you can't edit something that's not there. And that's the same, like, you can't market what you don't have there.
So
Yeah.
And I guess it's good to always ask yourself why you're writing. What are your motivations in doing it? Do you want to just have written a story? Because there are a lot of people who have stories to tell. And sometimes just writing it and sharing it with your friends is enough. You don't have to publish it, and you don't have to be successful. You don't have to measure your own success, your own, creativity based on how many books you sell. If you just want to tell a story, just tell it and don't worry about everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Figure out why you want to do it. Because if you're having trouble doing it, you're probably chasing it for the wrong reasons.
Like that.
You're getting so deep.
So deep.
Yeah. Love it.
So much more I want to say, but I'm going to say it.
Say it in that voice. That's how you got to say it. There was a couple of these throughout that have come up, but not just about Vrix, but all the languages you have. Where did the languages come from for you guys?
So to be honest, since we'll start with that.
You sneeze and write down what comes out.
So we have Undying, which we created a language for as well. Mm-hmm. We actually stole words from that and just kind of recreated it because we felt like it was just a waste to just sit there with one book. And
it was used for one book. So.
So
we stole the words.
Took some of the words,
some of the
switched them around.
the grammatical rules.
And then added a whole ton more.
And I was looking through some of Undying yesterday or the day before, and I was like, there's some words that are exactly the same meaning, same style. I'm like, maybe we should have tweaked it a little more. But we stole from ourselves. Obviously, with the Spider's Mate, though, it's way expanded from what it was.
Right.
Undying. So, and there are some differences, but just, we get a pass every now and then, right?
Yeah. I mean, that would be like, you can look at it as like really dedicated fans. It's like an Easter egg for them. And everyone else of us, like,
maybe there's
I can't. Like I can't quote the words that are said in them anyway. So I'm just like, oh, he's saying an alien word right now. Okay.
Nobody would have noticed
If we hadn't said
if I had, if we hadn't.
Right. I mean, that's funny.
And no, I cannot pronounce any of those words either. And I won't
obviously
try.
some of them weren't used because the bricks can't say certain letters too, but
Now that I said I can't pronounce any of those words, they're definitely on Patreon. I'm going to pick Spiders Mate stuff for me to do live readings on.
Yeah.
I mean, we want you to figure it out because, like I said, when I get 1 million people to buy your audiobooks, you're going to have to do these in audiobooks. So you better figure out the pronunciation guide because it's going to happen.
Pronunciation. Phonically,
That Catan voice too.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. That'd be very interesting too, especially if it's some of the sexy talk, trying to say that in like the strange. I mean, that's what the name is.
I don't know how all that works. I just make it up as I go.
I think this question kind of goes with it too, because it's like where the names come for you guys, I'm sure.
Yeah. Usually for Tiffany's characters, she'll go online and
I'll look up names that just stand out.
She'll give me a post-it note with a bunch of names. Which one do you think?
Sounds like?
And for me, I'm like,
I'll look up like fantasy name generators and then like
what
tweak
syllables
letters
sound
and...
good.
I mean, it's always helpful. It's always helpful if we can pronounce, especially when it's a hero we really like. I was like, oh, Catan, I can say that.
Yeah,
it's great.
They're easily pronounced.
Right.
I mean, some of them look intimidating, like Zervashi, but they're easy when you hear them.
Right.
Yeah.
You know.
Eel Queen.
Justin, did you have any questions for them? I'm rolling through.
I think I asked all the questions that I had written down right here.
Okay. Just seeing if I missed anyone, because I lots of hate for how do we say her name? How do we say her name?
Zervashi.
Okay. Nice and evil.
That bitch.
She gets worse. Just saying.
Yeah. If you're not.
I got news for you.
The best part, Daniela, you get to just read Bound immediately. So you don't have to wait. It's great. I mean, it hurts, but it's fine. Did we ask the one that we asked? I asked what was the hardest one to write. Well, what about your favorite book? Again, I know it's Picky Children, but they want to
say Savage Desire,
Shielded Heart, Desire.
Or Claimed by an Alien Warrior.
Oh, that one's so cute. I love it.
Claimed by an Alien Warrior was nice to write because, again, that was the first time where all my stupid jokes, I could actually use some of them in the book.
Yeah.
Because we went for that little more lighthearted tone.
It was a road trip. It was a road trip romance. Love it.
Rage.
Yeah.
Rage in there. That one was fun.
Yep.
And we went on vacation right after that released, or during the release.
Yeah. All right. Oh, I guess I'm not sure. Maybe there's something I haven't heard about.
It's a book box that's just starting.
And
Monsters. April Lee is running it.
I know about this.
Yep. She's got a newsletter that you can sign up to, and she'll be announcing more details as it gets closer to February. But we're going to be the featured authors, and we're excited. So.
That's amazing. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm such a sucker for book boxes.
Yeah.
I can't say what's going to be in it, except for that there will be 1 or 2 books, one with an exclusive cover, but she'll get more details later.
Okay. Justin and I love special edition covers of things like.
Yes.
We're
I will own all the editions of all the covers.
I'm ready for it. I mean, I will say these are officially the first alien romance books that I've ever purchased. So they're the first ones on my shelf. Because there are plenty I've read and liked, but they haven't had covers that I've loved. That is something that I love about your cover artists is they're all so beautiful and unique. And there's a lot of alien covers that, the authors may don't have the money to spend on nice ones. So I'm like, I love this book, but I don't have to own it because
I would suggest S.J. Sanders as well, because it's the same cover artist.
Oh, yes.
Very similar in the monster.
I've read one of those ones, I think.
I saw there was a unicorn one that I was like, this is a beautiful cover and I don't even know what it's about. I just want to read it now.
Yeah. I mean, there are plenty of books on my shelves that I bought solely for their cover, what it looks like. And then sometimes it lives up to it. And sometimes I'm like, well, I'm glad I supported that author and bought their book before I read it. Yeah. Oh, okay. Sunny also, what was the best experience writing the book? Is that like the same as your favorite though, or are those different answers?
I would say Dustwalker for the best experience.
Dustwalker or Taken by the Alien Next Door?
I don't know about that
Taken
one.
by the Alien Next Door for me was more of like a escapism book. It was because we were going through a hard time and really stressed, and that was just like a have fun, take it easy kind of book.
I don't remember when we.
Rob's like, what did I miss? What happened?
Before we got COVID.
Mm.
Oh, it was. Oh yeah, that was like
we
a
were
palate
experiencing
cleanser.
yes, we were experiencing a big time burnout, and we needed something just light and easy and fun
And quick.
and quick. But
It was
wasn't
only
really
going to be
quick.
50 or 60,000 words.
We said that about the Spider's Mate too.
Yeah, we only went to pay over what we intended.
That
For
didn't
me,
turn out as planned.
No, they were supposed
it
to each
usually
be like
doesn't.
50K, but
That's why we look back at like His Darkest Craving. We're like, how did we write a book this short?
yeah, I know.
And it works.
But it's not long enough.
Short.
It did work.
We did.
That
have
one's kind of like a fable. You know, it's literally kind of like a nightmare or like a, you know, just kind of fits in there. I just read that one for this Halloween, so.
Yeah, it's. I did too, oddly enough.
Yeah.
For me, it would be Dustwalker because, again, as I mentioned before,
We
we were
passionate
so
about that
inspired
one.
and passionate going into that.
Mhm.
And that was the moment where it clicked where, oh, wait, we both like sci-fi stuff? Because it
Mm.
had always been fantasy that we shared up until that point.
It was funny because we both had an idea for that
Yeah,
book
for
without
robot stuff.
realizing it, and we kind of came from separate angles. Like for me,
Yeah.
it was
Oh, wow.
a song that I listened to from The Weeknd, and then it was also a Louise Royo art that I found. And for him, he was like trying to come up with like a story for me that had like a
I think it
Pinocchio
was
inspired.
our 10th anniversary or something.
Mhm.
It was it was a wedding anniversary coming up, and I'm like, oh, I got to do something special. So it's like, oh, I'm going to write. I think what was it? That Once Upon a Time show we were watching at the
Yeah, I
time
think so.
that had all
Yes.
the.
I love
And I
that.
was like, I could write 10 short romance stories based on fairy tales. And the one for Pinocchio was about a robot who sees this woman dancing and, you know, becomes a real boy, so to speak, because he learns to fall in love with her being human and unique and imperfect and all this stuff.
And then I came to him with like, I have a book idea. What
And then we're
about
like,
this? A
wait a
woman
second.
dancing, robot. He's like, actually.
That
So
fits
we have, like,
perfectly with what I had in mind.
Yeah. But then
So-
for that book, it's like I had the ending already planned out. Like I knew exactly what I wanted that ending to be.
Yeah, it's a rough one. Not
Yeah.
rough.
I cried. I mean, I'm not ashamed. I cried, and I was like, why am I so emotional?
Sometimes when I think about it, I cry. I'm a crier.
He is, but I love it.
Oh, but I love that. I mean, I love when a romance makes me cry. I love it. Like those are immediately go to the top of my favorites list if I'm crying because the
You're just
characters
so
just feel so
emotional.
real.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I also have rage tears sometimes. Those ones are not good. Those are when I'm because like an author's making bad decisions with a book. I'm like, I don't trust you anymore. You've brought the rage out. Because there's a fine line. There's a fine line between like angsty, like, oh, this is gut wrenching feeling, and then there's like, why are you doing this? Like, this is stupid.
Pissed off for.
It's different.
I cried writing when we were writing the epilogue to Bound.
I know.
Aw.
I think about it. I'm very excited for you to write more because I would like to see future glimpses at my sweethearts. So, because I love them. I'm trying not to spoil things by saying what I'm thinking about, but I'm sure you know what I'm thinking about.
Half of all the characters die, but we're not going to say who.
Oh no! Don't say that. Can't read Dustwalkers without a box of tissues. Well, I'm scared. I haven't read that one yet. That one's on. I have the audio for that one. So
It was good. You're gonna like it. You're gonna enjoy that cry, I think.
okay. Well, that's good. Happy cry or sad, emotional cry ahead. So.
Emotional cry.
Okay.
Cry. Yeah.
All right. I like it.
It was beautiful, I will say.
Yeah.
I will say that Laura does comes off as very abrasive. She's quick to temper. but she has her reasons.
If you empathize with her and put yourself in her shoes, you would understand why.
I like that though. It was a personal reader transformation for me in 2021 because I always used to hate like abrasive women in books. I'd be like, oh, I just want you to just get along, like don't be this person. And this last year in my top 10 list, half of them were all like quote unquote like the bitch woman who like gets a heart in the book, and that's like my favorite thing now because I'm just like I feel like this is how I feel. I'm not the bright-eyed wishy anymore.
Yeah, people give her a hard time because they think she directs her anger toward people who don't deserve it, but it's like she's got nowhere else to put it. It's not like it's a personal vendetta against anybody, but I mean, come on, you deal with a frustrating situation for long enough and then you find out that somebody might have been able to change it. You might give them an earful. I wouldn't because I'm very anti-confrontational.
You work out all your issues in your writing. That's
usually by the time I get angry enough that I'm going to say something, the situation has resolved itself.
Being slow to anger is a wonderful thing. Like it is a good thing.
Slow to anger, but not slow to get frustrated.
Yeah.
Frustration.
Sure. Well, thank you everyone for coming to hang out with us. Thank you guys so much for taking some time. This has just been so fun. I'm so glad that I'm just so glad for your books. I don't know what else to say. My brain just blanked. Like it's just been so fun. And there's so many more to read. Yeah, I'm so excited. And I will work on getting those audiobooks out there. That's my goal. 2022. Put those out.
For the record, we have made no promises. No promises.
No, this is Jenn's wish list.
I'm gonna make it happen.
Jenn's making.
I'm gonna flex. I'm gonna flex it. I'll just make it happen. So, but I mean, people. That's all that I can say is like people write me good books. I'm gonna talk about them. Maybe cry about them. Maybe yell about them. That's what I'm here to do. So I'm happy to. Yeah, you just keep writing them and. Oh, I wanted you guys that you should plug your Patreon because your Patreon is going to be awesome. Talk about yourselves just a couple minutes and then we'll wrap this up.
Well, that's like the hardest thing to do is talk about ourselves.
I know. I'm giving you permission.
Yeah, so we have a new Patreon that you can join. That's where a lot of our not safe for work, naughty art will be going from now on. So no more freebies on our website. Sorry.
And I apparently have to do stuff for it. So
he'll be doing some live readings, which if you are in our reader group, you've heard some of them before in the past when he did a live reading.
Now you have to pay for them because I'm worth it.
You are worth it. Absolutely. Don't be giving that away for free no more.
Swag, prints, stickers, and
the project that we're not talking about yet.
Because we just hit 100. So.
And whatever gray you can see now will be way worse.
I will point out that this was his idea.
I don't know why. Why was
his? Mine.
Anyway, that's all we can say about it.
Great. No, I love it.
So yeah, if you want to see alien peen and sex, you can join.
And I don't know. When.
That's the main thing that people
I'm not
join
sure
for.
when. We haven't talked about a date, but we would have a live reading coming up soon, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So there's a live reading going to come up soon. Did we have patrons pick out?
Treasure of the Abyss, I think was
Treasure
ahead.
of the Abyss was ahead. We have a poll, I think. So
yeah.
I will read a chapter or two, depending on how long they are.
Nice. I'm excited about it. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, I'll go ahead and close this down. And just for the viewers, we do have another author chat next weekend. Sophie and Mr. Lark will be back to talk about all their awesome plans they have for 2022, which one of them includes an Anastasia fantasy novel. So
I saw that.
I saw her.
The hype is real for me. My child.
I love Anastasia, so I'm good.
Very happy. So that'll be exciting. So yeah, thank you all so much, and we'll see you next time. Bye.